Oh, hi, I'm Diane Gould, and I work at the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. And I was contacted to be on this panel, but I want to say I am so impressed that there's this many interested citizens that are here to volunteer their time. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So I'm very impressed that you all are here, and I think it takes a lot to volunteer your time and do something nice for the citizens of Milwaukee. And so I'm honored to be here. So first of all, as I said, I work with the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, and we have, is this the one that,
Okay,
a little
I'll do
clicker.
it from here.
Okay. Okay. So today my topics of discussion will be a little bit about the Oregon Government Ethics Commission and what we do, an overview of the relevant laws to this issue, then city council official compensation, and how would the ethics laws apply to changing city council official compensation. So the Oregon Government Ethics Commission was established in 1974, right after Watergate, when reform of government swept across the country, as you can imagine. And so they decided to set up this independent, well, semi-independent organization of government. We have 9 commissioners who are volunteer citizens, just like you all, and we have 9 staff members. It's a small commission. We get complaints from the public of possible violations of ethics laws, and we investigate those. We also regulate lobbyists and lobbyist filings and registration and expenditures. And we have a tiny slice of the public meetings law. We regulate executive session provisions where city councilors close the session to the public and just speak in private. We also have a lot of written advice and advisory opinions. So anybody that calls and asks us for an opinion on something, we answer the phone, we give advice, we give written advice, we give informal advice, and we're very accessible. So who is a public official? Public officials are who my commission regulates. And the whole set of laws in the ethics laws regulate individual public officials, not cities, not counties, not the state government, just individual public officials. So I worked for Portland State University for 16 years, and I had no idea I was a public official as a secretary at Portland State University.
Thank you.
Because in the name of the phrase public official, it sounds like it's elected only, the legislators and city councilors. I think I went out. Oh, there. But it's actually any person who is serving in any kind of government in the state, city, county, even special districts, like volunteer firemen are public officials. The janitor in the public school is a public official as well as the governor. So it covers everyone. In fact, you all are public officials, whether you know it or not, for these couple of days that you're volunteering to do this citizen advisory committee. So I doubt we'll get any complaints on any of you, so don't worry about it. But here's what we do. Our laws cover, oh, okay, you got it? Oh, great. Okay, so the cornerstone of our laws is kind of the anti-corruption law, prohibited use of position or office. So the definitions are up there, and also that goes along with that is conflicts of interest. But all of the ethics laws have to do with money. They don't have to do with rude behavior. I get a lot of calls that city councilor yelled at me at the city council meeting. That's not within our jurisdiction. Or my city councilor is having an affair with someone who's not their wife. That's not within our jurisdiction, thank goodness. But We only deal with money, and all of our laws can be summed up pretty succinctly in one sentence, which is, if you hold a position of public trust, you cannot use that position to financially benefit yourself. Now it's expanded a little because not only can you not use it to financially benefit yourself, but also your relatives, household members, or businesses with which any of you are associated. So that's the basic of our laws. Now, prohibited use of office has an exemption for official salary. So salary and official compensation, you can accept that and still be in compliance with the law. It's more like things that you're not supposed to do, like embezzle money from your public coffers. So conflicts of interest are a little more less obvious. But when a public official takes an action in their official capacity, say as a city councilor, that would definitely financially benefit them, such as deciding to give themselves more pay, that would be an actual conflict of interest. A potential conflict is something like they're referring a matter that affects their own pay to the voters. That might be a potential conflict of interest. So to dispose of a conflict, they would have to, city councilors would have to make a declaration in public that they have a conflict and then refrain from voting or discussing it if it's an actual conflict. So in preparation for this presentation, I talked to the city staff about what the statutory authority is for them to set compensation. And they referred me to this section of the charter, which says the council shall prescribe compensation of city officers. I'm not sure what's included in city officers. When I looked that up in another section of the charter, it referred only to the mayor, the city manager, the city attorney, and the municipal judge. It didn't refer to the councilors themselves, so I'm not sure about that. So the current compensation, you've probably seen this in the materials. The councilors get $250 monthly stipend, $3,000 per year for a fund for training and things, and then a credit card. The mayor gets a little more, $300 monthly, $5,000 per year for dues, memberships, conference travel, training. So as the ethics laws are applied to changing their compensation, I asked the question, would a city councilor have a conflict of interest when deciding what his or her pay from the city will be? And the answer is yes, they have a conflict. They have an actual conflict because the councilor would be taking an official action that would financially, for sure, have an impact on them personally. And the thing with conflicts is it's applicable whether you're increasing your pay, whether you're financially enriching yourself, or if it's to your detriment. So if the city council decided to lower their stipend, instead of $250 a month, we'll give ourselves $100 a month, that too would present them with a conflict of interest. So when you're met with a conflict of interest as a city councilor, you would have to publicly announce your conflict at a public meeting and then not vote or discuss it. Potential conflict, on the other hand, would arise. Oh, okay. So potential conflict is only something could financially affect you. So would a city councilor have a conflict of interest when deciding what the pay for future city councilors would be? Yes, but. So they would only have a potential conflict of interest because they wouldn't be deciding on their pay. They have 2 years left in their term. They're not deciding, well, I'm going to give city councilors a compensation raise. They would not be benefiting from that because it wouldn't go into effect until after they are off the council. The way that they could have a potential conflict, though, would be it could financially affect him or her personally if they were to serve a future term. So a current counselor would be met with a potential conflict of interest, and he or she would need to announce the potential conflict prior to discussing or voting on it. So now that I've totally confused everyone, like, what is this stuff? The options that I see that are possible in a situation like this is to refer the matter of counselor pay to the voters, which would take it completely out of the city councilor's purview, and the voters would decide. Or current counselors could determine pay for future city councilors only. And that means if a current counselor is eligible to run for a future term, he or she would be met with a potential conflict and the need to publicly announce the conflict, and then they could participate in voting and discussing it. If a current counselor is ineligible to run again, he or she would have no conflict of interest when deciding pay for future counselors. So it's kind of simple, but it's not, because we've gotten a lot of questions about this at the Ethics Commission. And let's see, oh, that's the end. But what I wanted to say is I don't know if you have in your book an opinion that we wrote that's on base, okay, you do. She's nodding in the back. Thanks, Robin. Yeah, so we wrote an opinion that's kind of right on target to this very question. It was a different group of a governing body, but they wanted to increase their stipends, or in this case, I think it was they wanted to add a health care benefit to themselves, to their compensation. And we gave them the same advice, which is you would only be met with a potential conflict, which means you could participate after disclosing the conflict, but you would have to be setting that pay for future members of the governing body, not for yourself. So that's it. Ooh, I've got 2 minutes left. So, okay. And I want to encourage you, any of you, if you're interested in doing more of this citizen volunteer, the Government Ethics Commission, like I said, we're one of 9 commissioners, and they're just volunteer citizens. They apply to the governor's office. The governor has a ton. The statewide boards and commissions are always looking for citizens to be on these volunteer boards and commissions, and you need no expertise. You just have to be willing. It's something that you're interested or feel drawn to. I encourage all of you to contact the governor's office and see if there's a board or commission that has openings that you might want to participate in, because it's a lot of fun. And like I said, at this time, I think we need as much citizen participation as we can get. So thanks for coming today, and I'm looking forward to your questions later.